Hello, scratchers and creative coders. The reason we emphasize on creative coders is because when you're coding, when you're creating a project, it is really because you want to create something interesting. You and your friends are coming out of game and are ready for drinks. And there are 3 color drinks available. And in the given 500 timer and whatever you decide, you have to grab your drinks. And as you do that, you can see the score at the bottom going up. Now, once you're thinking game, you have to see what are the elements which are needed. Now, in this case, we have got backdrop and we have kept a bench and we have got these glasses. Now, you see only one glass right here and so many appearing. So that means we are using clones. And we are using 3 variables and all 3 of them, we have made them visible here. You may be aware when you create variables, most of the times you don't want them to be visible to the user. And if you don't want it to be visible, you just keep it unticked. But in games, when you want to show a timer, when you want to show score, or you want to show levels, or you want to show like highest score, things like this, then when you put a tick mark, when you want to show it. And you can decide what is going to be the position of the variable by moving it around. So we decided to show the timer here, the score here, and the highest score right next to it. In the initial green flag clicked, we have set the scores to 0. Remember, you don't want to set the highest score. Highest score is a cloud variable. Do you see a cloud next to it? Cloud variable. So what is the difference between a cloud variable and the regular variable we use? So when you go to variable and you say make a variable, this is on the backdrop. So you only see one option, cloud variable. But if you were on a sprite and you did make a variable, you also get to see whether the variable is for all sprites or only for this sprite, and is it going to be a cloud variable. Now, when we say cloud variable, it means that the value of that variable is going to stay stored even when you stop your Scratch project. Right now, all these variables, whatever data you say, as soon as you stop it, you lose the data of that variable. A cloud variable is going to stay on. It is going to be stored in what is called the cloud data of Scratch. How do you see that? Under the project, this shows they're using cloud variables. And when you click on see data, you get to see the user who has used it, what is the name and what is the value. So you get to see a whole lot of information under the project. Now, what we have in this code is that when the game starts, we have switched the backdrop to outdoor fun. We can actually have it right here. And when backdrop switches to outdoor fun, we have set the timer to 500 to start with. And we are repeating this 500 times. And we are changing the timer by -1. Now, once our timer is over, that means the game is over. At that point, we will get to know whether we have the highest score or not. How do we do that? We check if the score we have right now at the end of the game, if it is higher than the highest score, only then it means we have created a new high score. And if that is the case, we set the highest score to this new score. But if we have not created a higher score, if our score is lower, then the high score is not going to change. So that is a little bit on the timer and high score keeping. Now let's look at it, what's really happening in this game. What we're doing is we are creating 20 clones. To create 20 clones, initial position, we have set go to front layer so that it doesn't go behind this bench. And we have created 20 clones. So we have learned how to use the clone code. It is using 3 basic control blocks. It's at the bottom of the control block. The first thing is creating the clone. So let us look at the clone code. Create clone of myself, and you do this 20 times. So 20 clones will get created. Now we don't want all the clones to look exactly the same. We want them to have some fun, some variety, and we want them to be in different locations. So we have a code under when I start as a clone. So we tell it what to do when you start as a clone. So if we don't have this code and we create 20 clones and there's nothing happening, the reason is I've hidden the main costume. So let me at least put the show block here. So look at this. There are 20 clones, but you can't see because they're all placed at the same position and they all look the same. We don't want this. So what do we want to do? When I start as a clone, we want to make them in 3 different colors and we want to do it randomly. So what we have done, we have created another local variable. Now this variable we are not displaying to anybody. So this is a local variable color selection, and we are setting this color selection for every clone when it starts to pick up one of the 3 choices, 1, 2 or 3. And based on which number it picks up, it decides its color. So if this clone selects 1, the color is set to 0. If the color effect is set to 0, it means the original glass color green stays green. If the clone picked up the color selection as 2, then we are changing the color effect to 60. And if the color selection is 3, then we are setting the color effect to 120. So the blocks we are using here is our if block, and from looks we are using the color setting block. And once these glasses appear, we want them to keep gliding till the game is on. Till when is a game on? Till the timer does not become 0. We are saying keep repeating until the timer is 0. And what are we repeating? We don't want the glasses to just hang up there. That will be pretty boring for a player. We want them to keep gliding around. Now, we could have just written glide 1 seconds to random position, and then the glasses would have gone all over. We don't want that. What we want that the glasses should glide around, but only in this area on top of this table. How do we do that? Isn't it interesting how we can just use a simple math to achieve all this? So what we're doing, we decide this area. And how do we get an area? Using X and Y coordinates. So how do you get an X and Y coordinate? All you have to do, you just take any sprite, for example, a ball. You take paper and pen and use it to write down. Now we want these glasses to be in this area. So we say that we want the X area to be between minus 190 and 212. So this is our X area. Where do we want our Y to be? Between this table here. So Y is about minus 8 and the top of the screen, which is around 170. So once we write it down, we can come and code it. So we are picking up our X between minus 188 to 184, but you can use X and Y data which you write, and the Y variable between 45, so that's somewhere between 45, that's here, to 150. So this is where what we have selected right now. But please you do not have to use exactly the same numbers. You can choose the area where you want the glasses to be moving. This is the code which is making the glasses move around. So isn't it simple code? All we are doing is creating clone 20 times. And when it starts as a clone, we ask to choose each clone one of the numbers, and based on it, we give it a color, and then we keep gliding it in this certain location. So we are almost there with the game. Now, the only thing we have to do is what happens when the player clicks on the glass, because that's really the game about. In this 500 timer which it is running, how many glasses does the player click? How quickly? So what code we will use? When the sprite click, because we want it to click. Now, when the sprite click, we do not want the player to keep clicking even after the timer is over. So what do? We use an if. Only if timer is greater than 0, we want the player to be clicking on this. So the moment the player clicks on this, the first thing we are doing is we are hiding that glass, so that, because we do not want again that glass to be picked up, we want it to be hidden. And now what is the next second thing we want to do? We want to give it some score. Now there are 2 ways to give score. One is just one line code, that is change score by 30. That's all our code could be. But why is our code looking so long for this? It's because we are giving score based on color. So we are saying if you're touching the green color, you get awarded 30 scores. If you're touching this blue color, you get 20. And if you want, you can put it in an instruction, or you can let a smart player figure that out. Better to put it on instruction. Now, how do you get these colors? Once you have set these colors, you can use, so what is the block we're using? If touching color. this block we're using here. Now, what do we put inside this? One easy way to do it is using this. This is called the color picker. So we click on this and we go here and we select the color of the class, and it exactly picks up that color. And we do this for all the, and once we have awarded its score, we can delete this clone. And that's pretty much what we have to do in the game. I look forward to your game, and I look forward to some creativity into it, and I look forward to playing it. Please make sure when you make games, you at least reach out to 5 friends and have them play it. We are sharing our Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter handle, whichever social channel your parents use. You can ask them to look at it, because we will be posting the Scratch handles who have been taking the challenges, the first 10 days of the challenge. Have fun. Ta-da!